My name is Mary. I'm 40 years old and I'm a mother of two. My husband, John, is 45. We've been married for 18 years. When we first got married, I was filled with hope and happiness. John was kind back then. He used to smile every day and tell me, "I love you." And I believed him with my whole heart. I truly thought we would build a beautiful life together, a life full of love, laughter, and partnership. 2 years into our marriage, we welcomed our first child, a son, Adam. He was a bright, curious little boy with a laugh that could light up the darkest day. 2 years later, our daughter Lily was born. She was gentle and sweet, with a voice that loved to sing and a heart full of kindness. I stayed home to raise them. I cooked, cleaned, helped them learn their first words, their first steps. Every moment mattered to me. John worked hard in those early years. He provided for us, came home with stories and hugs. But slowly something changed. He began working late, too late. Then came the work trips, frequent, unexplained, and vague. He stopped saying, "I love you." The smiles faded. When I asked him where he went or why he was so busy, he would snap, "I work for this family. Don't ask questions." I was hurt, but I stayed silent. I loved him. I held on to the hope that the man I married might come back to me someday. But then, 7 years ago, something shattered that hope. John went on another trip, and while tidying up, I found 2 plane tickets. One with his name, and the other with a woman's name I'd never heard before. My heart cracked in an instant. Cried for 3 days. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the silence of our home, feeling utterly lost. When he returned, I asked him, "Who is she?" He looked away and said, "She's nobody. Don't worry." But I didn't believe him. Deep down I knew. I wanted to scream. But instead I said, "Okay." Not because I believed him, but because our son was only 3. I couldn't bear the thought of breaking his little heart. Years passed. John didn't change. He kept working late. He kept disappearing. I knew he was still seeing that other woman. And with every passing day, my heart grew colder. The home I once loved felt empty. I would cook, clean, and care for the children, but I felt invisible. I looked at John and saw a stranger. Then, something unexpected happened. I ran into someone from my past, an old friend named Alex. He was kind, gentle, and still had that same warmth I remembered. I saw him with his wife one day. He opened the car door for her, helped her with her coat, smiled at her like she mattered. And it hit me, I never had that. Not really. Alex and I started talking. Just small conversations at first. He asked me, "How are you?" I told him I was fine. But I wasn't. He listened. Truly listened. He said, "You matter, Mary. You're strong." And something in me woke up. For the first time in years I smiled. I laughed. Not because I was in love with Alex, but because I remembered what it felt like to be seen. We didn't share gifts. There were no big promises. Just understanding. The feeling of being human again. But John eventually found out. He was furious. He shouted, "Why did you do this?" And I looked him in the eye and said, "Because I needed love." That night John cried. For the first time in years he showed emotion. He said, "I love you. Please don't leave." I asked him, "Why now? Why after 18 years?" He didn't have an answer. He just said he didn't realize I was hurting. Soon after, I fell sick and was hospitalized. John stayed with me, held my hand and whispered, "Don't leave me. I love you." That was the second time in 18 years he said those words. I wanted to believe him. But deep down I knew. The other woman was still waiting. Now he sleeps beside me. He's home more often. He takes out the trash. Washes the dishes. He asks if I need help. Small gestures, but they matter. Still I struggle. When I look at him, I don't see the man I once married. I see someone who broke my trust. One night we sat around the dinner table. Just me, Adam, and Lily. They were laughing, telling stories about school. I watched them and thought, they're so happy. They have no idea about the sadness inside me, After dinner I asked Adam, "Do you think Daddy and I are happy?" He looked surprised and said, "I don't know, Mom. You're kind to each other. But sometimes you look sad." Lily, sweet and innocent, said, "Mom, I just want us to stay together." Their words cut deep. I didn't want to keep pretending, so I visited Alex one last time. We hadn't spoken since John found out. I needed closure. When I saw him, he smiled. He asked, "How are you?" I said, "I'm trying to fix my life." He nodded. "You're strong, Mary. You'll find your way." Thanked him. I told him, "You reminded me that I'm important." Then I walked away, knowing it was the last time I'd see him. That evening I spoke to John. I said, "We need to be honest. Do you want this marriage to work?" He said yes. I asked him, "Can you leave the other woman? Can you truly give me the love I need?" He said, "I'll try." And I replied, "Trying isn't enough. You have to mean it." Since then we've taken small steps. Walks together. Conversations about the weather, the kids. A little laughter here and there. I see hope, but my heart still hesitates. Forgiving John has been the hardest thing I've ever done. I still remember the pain. Plane ticket. The nights I cried alone. But I also remember Alex. And my own choices. One day I looked in the mirror and said, "Mary, you're not perfect either. But you're worthy of peace." Now I live one day at a time. John and I are still together. It's not perfect. He says he loves me, and sometimes I believe him. Sometimes I don't. Focus on my children. I try to smile for them, even when my heart feels heavy. I've also started focusing on myself. I read books. Go for walks. I'm learning to love myself again. One day I wrote a letter to myself. It said, "Dear Mary, you are strong. You are kind. You are important. Life is hard, but you can handle it. Love yourself first, then you can love others. You deserve happiness. Don't forget that." I keep that letter in my drawer. And when the sadness comes, I read it. It reminds me that I'm not alone. This journey has taught me so much. I've learned that love isn't just words. It's actions, care, and respect. I've learned that people make mistakes, even me. And most of all, I've learned that I'm stronger than I ever knew. I've survived betrayal, loneliness, and heartbreak. But I still believe in healing, in hope, and maybe, just maybe, in love one day at a time.